TV Captures is essentially a storyteller. I guess the way that I would put it is from a very, very young age, as young as maybe like 8, 9 years old, I've always had a camera. And I've always told stories in some sort of form, if it's not music, videos. I didn't take pictures until a lot later in life, but there's always something about creation and stories and, the birth of something, informing something. And I think over the years, especially, like I said, since a young age, I think I've concluded that was a major part of why I was put on this earth. I don't think it's not the only reason, like there's other things as well, but I think a lot of what I would say like my purpose or my sole reason is like, it's creation, it's stories. Having something in your hand and then having to like turn that into something.
Park does not necessarily promises, but if it accepts us, we will be able to see the maximum that it has.
Learn a lot about giraffes today. I don't want to be hit by a giraffe, though, I'll tell you that for sure.
We have we have 4 of the big 5. The cats are very technical, especially given the fact that now we are going to get in a little late. But maybe not. Whatever we will get there, we will appreciate.
The reason why I wanted to first and foremost document just this whole narrative around music and visual arts and why I chose Kenya, I think for me, I knew at a certain stage in my life, even from a young age actually, that I always wanted to travel the world. Now I didn't know what shape that could have been as an artist, as a musician, like it could have been anything, but I knew that I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to travel the world and tell stories.
This music that the Maasai sing, mostly they sing this music in ceremonies. Ceremonies like wedding, initiations, when they are blessing ceremonies. We have in Maasais, we have age groups, and there's a blessing which happens when you are blessed from a certain age group to the other one. That's such ceremonies, and the songs are being sung in the such ceremonies. Yeah.
So Juls and my relationship is quite deep, in a sense where when we started, this is like 5-6 years strong. We have been creating stories together for a long time. And I think why this was really important was, I remember having a conversation with him and we were talking about what we want to do this year and saying I wanted to travel. And I said that I was thinking about going to Kenya. And he said, I'm planning a headline show there. And actually, this makes a lot of sense because we've been creating stories like here when we've been in other countries and stuff like that. But I've never gone around and wanted to document what it's like to travel with Juls, but what it's like to see how Juls's music impacts the fans globally. So the link between music, which is what Juls does, and the link between film and photography, which is what I do, became almost this perfect synergy.
The live aspect of music is always reflected in whatever it is that I do, because you don't want your music to be too digital or too polyphonic. If that's the best way to describe it. Yeah. You want people to feel the music.
life as a partially sighted photographer is interesting. So I have a condition called nystagmus, which is essentially where your eyesight is not developed at birth. So what it means is that no matter what I wear, contacts, glasses, my vision can't be corrected. So it means that I have to maneuver from essentially a place of where I have a disability. For a long time, I kind of ignored it because in my head, I was just like, oh no, it becomes part of it. What can you do? And then there was this moment where I realized I take pictures the way that I do because I can't see properly. So when people would ask me like certain things around why is it so close, or like, how did you see that? Or why did you do it from that angle? In my head, I thought, well, that's just what all photographers do. Then it made me realize, oh no, I'm working from a place where I'm almost at like 50% capacity with my eyesight. I think thinking about Kenya and thinking about this documentary, I wanted to showcase what it looks like through these eyes, through being partially sighted, through not having complete vision, through, having to manage the way that I do. And I wouldn't be able to do this without like technology from Canon, if I'm being really honest with you, because for as much of my career, if not all of it, it's always been with Canon.
Having nystagmus and shooting, as you said, at 50% capacity, or being able to see at 50% capacity, there is a way you've had to adapt your shooting style to work for you. Tell us what you do when you step into a room. What's your process?
So I have a very specific process when I'm shooting at an event or safari or even doing an editorial. But for an event specifically, the first thing that I'm doing is looking for light. Where is my light coming from? So I tend not to use flash when I shoot. There's nothing wrong with it, but I think there is great beauty in just finding the right light, the right moment. So I'll tend to walk into an event and I'll look, and usually there's like, depending on the venue, there's like, they do it in rows, so you might see like 4 rows of lights across the room. And there is usually someone who controls that, and it's based on like beats and sounds, so he might be doing it every couple of seconds, or it's moving towards the base of the song, or he's just, gung-ho doing whatever he wants to do because he's been paid and he actually wants to go home. And then I wait and see, okay, what is the sequence? Once I figure out the sequence, I know where I need to stand. There might be someone the rest of the room is dark, but they've just walked into this really tiny bit of light and it illuminates. And I get that one moment, then I'm off. And I will have this internal dialogue with myself. So when people like see me, they'll go like, why are you screw-facing? Why don't you look happy? I'm having the time of my life, mate. But I'm actually trying to figure out what my process or my sequence is. What part of the picture is important, it might actually be completely different to what people might see. And again, it's just the way my eyesight works. But this process has been a huge part of my life, and it's how I capture these, which is what I call like golden moments. They're these like, that's it, the money shot. This is that moment. This is it. This is the story that you have been waiting for. For a little bit, I was kind of like, is this going to happen? Because if we don't get the funding, how are we going to do it? And I think there was a moment where we were having a conversation and we said, no matter what, we just need to book our tickets and go. Like, that's the number one thing. And I think why that was important was because I think as someone who has grown up in religious backgrounds and has grown up in church, even though I have differences of opinion about religion and all those different things, one thing for certain is if you believe in something, you're gonna have to have even a little bit of faith. And I think we had that with Kenya. That obstacle was a huge part of the story. And in actual fact, I think if we didn't face that, I don't think it would have been as real to us that we needed to go. So overcoming that was a major part of the story.
You had a role to play in actually bringing a community together and bringing people together. Let's discuss Discord.
Discord in Kenya was one of the greatest things that I've ever done in my life. And I don't mince my words because I never in a million years thought that I could take a concept like that was an idea that was birthed for, a good couple of years, but take a concept like that we've been doing in London for a long time and it's thriving, it's beautiful, and saying, I'm going to take this concept into a country of people that don't know me. I'm a stranger in the land, and all I want to do is just talk about music, sing music, talk about the history, and give this moment for what I feel is really important. And I think the reception to Discord in Kenya was mind-blowing.
I'll say at around the time when I was making this music, I think that the influence that home had on me was the fact that I was here. And I don't think that if I was anywhere else, that I would have made these songs. It's just the environment. I think it was the safety that I had.
There was a point where she said, I haven't heard this music like this in a really long time, and this is her song.
I think this is what Discord is all about. It celebrates music and talks about it. So even for us who are from London and we don't listen to this music on a regular basis, what's been enjoyable is learning this music for the first time, learning your history, sitting down and actually understanding why the music is important to you.
I would love to discuss the relationship you discovered in Kenya between music and visual arts.
The relationship between photography, videography, tourism, music, culture, it all stems to community. And I think as simple as it is, it's so profound. Because I feel like what this film does is highlights the beauty of a community as well as the beauty of community in itself.
Oh, music is life. Here we say sherehe, Kenyan people say sherehe. Sherehe is like party, and without music there can't be a party. So from Monday to Monday, it's just music. Music is a stress reliever for us.
Because we don't all get to see through the same lens. We all see things very, very differently. We all have our concepts, we have our cultures, we have all these different things that make up a part of us and is our makeup essentially. But when you see community, you stop for a minute. When you see how important community is, you take a step back. And that's why I said, for me, when I say I'm a nobody in the grand scheme of things, is because there's much more important things, and that is community. So now going into filmmaking and going into Kenya, for example, this music was brand new to me. I'm hearing really, really old versions of music and the history, and just it took me back a little bit because I've never spent that time beforehand. But one of the things that I really wanted to do is, if I was going into a place that was foreign to me, and especially if I'm talking about documenting music and visual arts, I need to do my history on it. And I just found it so fascinating how connected the music was to stuff that's happened with slavery and independence and all of those different things have formed this story. But music plays a very central part in that.
I just feel like they have an amazing eye for things, an amazing ear for things, and you're curious to understand and kind of learn. Do you know what I mean?
I might not understand this culture, I might not understand this community, this country, what they're about. But if I take a moment to understand it visually and with my ears, I'll have a better understanding of where I am when I'm in this country, when I speak to someone who's from Kenya, or I'm having conversations. As soon as that link becomes apparent to me, it changes the way that I interact.
In Kenya, streaming is new, We're not up to speed with streaming that much, but we're on the way. So for a very long time, it's been YouTube. It's been what are we seeing on YouTube? What are we seeing on Facebook? So an artist trying to make it without visuals, even till now, is the ground, the people on the ground, on the streets, most of them do not have access to streaming platforms and stuff. So they really rely on visual, what you're showing them. On TikTok, they have TikToks on their phone, but they might not have Apple Music or Spotify, So it's one really key aspect in bringing the music together and making people see it.
I wouldn't be able to tell the stories that I'm telling about Kenya without the fact that there was a way for me to do that. There was a method for me to be able to do that. And I also think it's really important to know the culture. I think we get a bit comfortable because we travel to these places and we just like, sit on the beach and all this kind of stuff. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not negative towards that. But it's just sometimes you got to take a moment and actually find out, like, what is this place about? Who are these people? Like, what is their story? Why is it so important that they wear this clothing, or they have this jewelry, or they sing this song, or they have this music, or they have that instrument? Like, why are all of those different things important? And when you realize the strands of history, you'll leave there impacted, but you'll leave there with, the sense of knowledge that I feel like a lot of us, and that's what I took, need. And it will help us hopefully be better people overall.
Thank you to Kevin, thank you to Lindsay for having us here today. It's been, how many days? 5 days, I think, 6 days?
6 days.
Of an amazing trip together, getting to, get to know each other, make new friends, build memories, build bonds that I feel like will last a lifetime. And also music being like a core part of that is like, super intentional, super meaningful for me. I love every single one of you guys. But yeah, just a big cheers to Juls. Obviously, you're part of the reason why we're here. Thank you for coming to Kenya. Also, Daniel, thank you for coming to Kenya. Bringing your sister, Teresa, Olu.
My time there, the week and a bit that I spent there, it challenged my thinking. It challenged my thinking around community. It challenged my thinking around music, around visual arts, around tourism. It challenged my whole thought process around culture and how culture is very, very deep rooted, and why people are so precious about it is because people fought for it. People gave their lives for it. So it challenged all of these notions and things, being someone who's, born in essentially the Western world and has not spent a great amount of time there. I needed to have an understanding, and I didn't want to just do that through Googling something. I think I needed to be there and be a part of it and see it and feel it. And it really changed me in a way where when I left Kenya, I was so proud because this story in its isolation was very important.
I would say we are such a unit, yeah. Kenyans are such a unit, and we are very welcoming. We're very welcoming, and we're very calm. We're calm people, Only when it comes to Sherehe, when we're going out, that's when we go wild, And we like when someone comes here. We go to the club, show them what's happening in the club, And I feel like because of our diversity, we gel or we blend in with a lot of people from different places. So if you're coming from the UK, if you're coming from the States, literally everywhere, you'll find someone who you will relate with, you know what I mean? So yeah, they should come check out Kenya. There's so many things, tourism, there's lions, not on the streets though. Not on the streets though. There's lions in the park and stuff like that. There's great music, great food, really good vibes.
One thing I can say about Kenyans is that they show so much love and they enjoy themselves. I don't know if anybody was here on Sunday, but Sunday, I can arguably say, was one of the best audiences that I've played for in a while. Just the energy.
I don't think this is the last time that I'm going to be there, and I hope it's not as well, because it really did impact me. And it really impacted me as a person and made me just see life very, very differently. So yeah, there's a lot in the future planned, and I think this chapter is the first of many.